What a dreary place, huh? Somebody told me it's normally not this cloudy up here. They said Barrow's usually sunny, Nick. That sucks. So in another dispatch, I introduced this strange land to YouTube. I showed you what the place looks like and how it runs and what in the heck everybody here does. And why they live here. All of it. It was fascinating. The most interesting city I've ever visited in the northernmost point in the USA. Now you drive around these small Alaska villages and you see the struggle of the people that are holding on to their culture. A lot of the natives here make a lot of money and they live in conditions that don't look like they make a lot of money. There's a lot more to this place, but that's the part that got me all like, what? There's a part 2 to Barrow. So Kim and I rode with a local named Mike Schultz. Mike's been in Barrow as long as anybody else has. And Mike took us on a tour of this tiny little Alaska village for an afternoon. And none of that tour was featured in the first video. And I'm going to show it to you now. We came up here at the very end of Barrow summer, but it was still in the 30s. I gave away a perfectly good summer weekend to feel like I was at the North Pole.
If you don't have pilings, you don't get running water. In order to get running water at your house, you have to be on pilings. If you don't have pilings, you get one of those white plastic barrels over to the right, and they put it in your house, and they come by every few days and fill it up with water. And for a toilet, you get a 5-gallon plastic bucket. It's affectionately called a honey bucket. Not full of honey, but that's what it is. The North Slope Borough, the local government, has a crew that comes out. You call them up, you say, my bucket's full. They knock on your door, and they say, Coke Tack Man, honey bucket man, and you hand them last week's groceries, and they pour it in the truck and give your bucket back.
And it's a very interesting place. Like, it looks like things have not changed here in a long time.
They have, but subtle changes. There's a honey bucket. That's somebody's bucket of used groceries.
So that's their poop and pee?
Yep. Yeah, they set them outside in the summertime.
And there's another one over there?
Yep. The truck just comes by and empties it and then turns it upside down to let you know that it's empty. Then you come out and get it, put it back in your house. You always have 2. You got one you're using and one that's sitting outside.
And only 5% have that.
Yep. This house here, this is an actual house.
That's a house.
With a white door. It's a 12 by 16 house. It's one room. In that one room, they have a water barrel, a honey bucket, a cook stove, a heat stove, and a TV on the wall. Now here's the beauty of it. There's 4 adults living in there, 2 sisters, one's husband, one's boyfriend. The bucket sits in the corner. It doesn't even have a wall or a curtain or nothing around it. So if you're in there talking with them and watching TV and you got to go potty, you go in the corner, and while everybody else is 3 feet away having a sandwich watching a football game, you're dropping trowel.
Do you know them?
Yeah.
Okay.
You better be really good friends, and you might want to pass on that second burrito for lunch because you're sitting in the same room with everybody else.
And everyone's watching you poop.
Yeah. Well, they don't even watch. I mean, they get used to it.
Right.
You know.
You're just, I'd imagine.
There's 2 buckets there. They're waiting to get emptied. There's a couple buckets up there. These little places are duplexes. Joe Ashtukely built those about 20 years ago. He was 84 years old, and he knew he was dying. He wasn't going to live forever. So he built those. They're duplexes, no running water. They got lights and gas, and a water barrel and a honey bucket. And his wife gets $1,000 a month each side, so she gets $6,000 a month, and he did that so she'd have money to live on when he died.
So that you'd look at this and you would think that these people did not have a lot of money.
They got tons of money.
They do. They get probably $50K each from the oil reserve. At least. So
last Thursday, every native got $3,200 each.
On Thursday?
Yeah, for a quarter.
Each.
And so there's a husband and wife and 8 kids got $32,000 in one day.
In a month, in a quarter.
Yeah, in a quarter, and they'll get it again, around Christmas.
So they just live...
Bingo, groceries, and cigarettes.
Bingo, where's bingo? There's a bingo hall here?
Yeah, we're gonna go right by it.
So bingo's, groceries, cigarettes, and the rest they just put in the bank and...
Bank? No, they carry it around with them. Nobody uses the bank up here hardly. Non-natives do, but...
So they just sit on their money and just save it up?
When they want something, they go buy a snow machine or a rifle or whatever. See, here's a bunch of buckets. This guy saved them up for a couple of days, so he's waiting to get them emptied.
And they just seem content with, like, this is who I am, this is how I want to live.
And that's exactly right.
And like, it's not fancy, and I don't care what you think. I got dough, and I don't feel like spending it.
This is Sam and Lee.
Yeah, I ate that this morning.
Yeah, it's good breakfast.
Was.
Mrs. Kim's a nice lady.
Who's Sam, the man or woman?
Neither one.
Okay, because the tiger hat guy, I kept seeing him driving around town. I didn't know if that was Sam or
No,
me.
it's Mr. and Mrs. Kim.
Okay.
And neither one of them is Sam, neither one of them is Lee.
Okay.
It used to be Sam and Lee's, and then Mr. and Mrs. Kim bought it from them, and they just left the name the same. And it's in fact, this is my house. There used to be a 2-lane road.
Oh, I just came down here.
There used to be a 2-lane road that went right in front of the palm trees. That's gone this summer.
Only because sea level rise.
No, it didn't rise. Just big storms.
Just big storms.
There's nothing in the sand. There's nothing in the sand to hold it together. There's no vegetation, no plant life, no big rocks, no nothing. Yeah. So when the waves hit it, and it's been a warm summer, and the warmer it gets, and the wind blows from the west, it blows moisture up against the sand and thaws it out. It just sloughs off into the. If this is the ice, polar ice pack, and it comes in and pushes up against the shore, my hand being the shore. Okay, underneath here are shrimp and krill. The Arctic cod go underneath the ice and eat the shrimp and krill. The seals swim around the outside of the ice or up between the cracks, and they eat the Arctic cod, and when they get tired, they rest on the ice, and the polar bears live on the ice and walk the ice and eat the seals.
So where are the polar bears right now?
Out on the ice 100 miles out.
Oh, they're way out there. So they're waiting until the ice comes
back
in, and then they come on land.
The food's under the ice, so that's where they are.
100 miles. How far is it to...
400.
To the North Pole?
1,200.
What's 400, Russia? That way or that way more? Okay, so Russia's 400 miles directly across.
Yeah, Mongolia and Russia and Siberia.
Oh, there's the...
Dispensary, one of the two.
We weren't sure.
Is that the Arctic Sub-Zero one? There's one called Below Zero.
No.
That's not...
That's Arctic Dispensary. Yeah, Arctic Cannabis. The killer is you can't buy a beer in town, but you can buy a fatty.
I know, you can't.
That blows you away.
That's t-shirt worthy.
Well, I heard that the reason that Barrow is doing pretty well is because they banned booze, unlike some of the other villages.
Well, they didn't ban it, but they make you get it's a long process. You gotta go to the police department and get a background check. Most of the people can't pass a background check. They got DUIs and domestic violence issues. And then you got to get a permit. You got to renew it every year for $100.
But they make it a lot harder to consume alcohol than they do in
pot. You can just go here and get
in the other villages.
Yep. Now this is our super Walmart.
I went in there today. Yeah. You called it the super Walmart.
Yeah, it's a flower shop, the flower shop, the laundromat, the dry cleaner, the fur shop, the flower shop, the cigarettes, souvenirs, soda pop, and Western Union. And Stacy owns it. And we always tell her if you don't need it. If she don't have it, you don't need it.
I was in there today and thought the same thing. Yeah. I said they got a little bit of everything in there.
Yep. There's the sandbags they're going to put in front of my house. Yep. They figure it's going to take 150 to 200 to fill it up to get it back up to street level so that it doesn't slough off into the ocean.
Yeah, I'd imagine everybody in town knows everybody's business.
Well, way more than that, yep. This house, you want to talk about housing prices. See, it's empty, story and a half. You can tell the windows are broke out. It's burned out shell. It's half hanging over the cliff on the backside.
Yeah.
And the guy who wants to sell it, he wants $62,500, and he said he'd throw in the pickup truck.
There you go, YouTube. $62,500, and you can have beachfront property in Alaska.
Yep. And a pickup.
And a truck to get into town.
This one over here is a duplex. It's a 3-bedroom up, 2-bedroom down, separate entrances.
Yeah.
8 years ago, that sold for $550,000.
$550 for that. So, is it difficult to find people to do labor, like fix things, put siding on, fix...
There's only a couple of companies that do it.
So, is that part of the reason that a lot of the stuff is, like, not fixed? Because
nobody cares.
They just don't care.
They don't care. They just don't care. You're warm and you're inside. You don't care what the outside looks like.
Yeah. Yeah. I just didn't know if it was also part of it was that it's hard to get people to
until 75 years ago, they didn't have houses. They lived in camps around the nomadic tribes.
in like cloth teepee type tents?
Well, tents and stuff like that, or ice houses, igloos.
Igloo. They were living in igloos here 75 years ago?
They use them for hunting camps.
Okay.
Now these sod huts, you see the mounds here?
Yes, I
with
walked
the
through
depression
that.
in the middle?
Yep.
Okay, that's an old sod hut. Instead of using snow blocks, they would use frozen tundra. Cut them 2 feet square, stack them up, and make them look like an igloo. You know, the round with the little trail to get in. And you had to sleep on permafrost, so it was cold. So you'd put caribou skins, reindeer skins, and seal skins inside to keep it, keep you off the ground. And you'd put as many of your relatives in there as you could, because body heat was the only thing you had to heat it with.
So I got a question.
And I got an answer.
There's about 5 cab companies in town.
All Asians.
All Asian owned, I guess.
Yep.
It's either when a car drives by, it's likely going to be a oil work truck, a 4-wheeler, or a cab.
Yeah.
This town is not big enough, I would think, to support 4 cab companies.
Well, they got 4 or 5 cab companies. Each one's got about 4 vehicles.
Yeah.
There's people, nobody drives. I mean, people get their license and then they get drunk and they get them taken away. So, and a vehicle costs about $15,000 to get a vehicle up here.
Oh.
And $8 a gallon for gas, or $7 a gallon for gas. So by the time you get it, and lube and oil is $300, and by the time you get all that stuff, it's cheaper to take a taxi for $5.
No, I don't know.
Okay, I know you got airport security in North Carolina.
Yeah.
This is our airport security right here.
Oh, look at the fence. You can just walk right through that fence.
It just ends. Yeah, if you were a terrorist.
Oh my God, it ends.
If you were a terrorist, you'd go over here and drive up on the runway and do whatever you want to do.
Gosh. I got it. Yeah, look at that. That is a trip. Nothing has surprised me since we've been in this state, Mike. I tell you, it is just...
Well, I've lived here over 50 years. It still doesn't even surprise me. Every once in a while I go, that's kind of weird, but...
So there's the entire supply of gasoline.
Diesel, gasoline, and jet fuel.
For 1 year.
Yep.
And then how do they bring that on a barge?
Arctic Slope Regional Corporation they bring like 2 or 3 barges and park them down by the beach and run 3-inch hoses up to those tanks and fill them all up. No, that's all the satellite dishes for communications and everything else. You notice something interesting about these things. What's the difference between these and the ones you have in North Carolina? The angle. Yours point up in the air, and ours point 1 degree over the horizon. Because our satellites are below the horizon, so we got to shoot out to a relay station, then down to the satellite, then back up to the relay station and over here. Now this one was started in like 1980, so this is how many people have kicked the bucket since 80.
What?
It's a lot, yeah, it's a lot.
Is the
we have 3 or 4 funerals a week, it seems like.
in Little Barrow?
Yeah.
Is the life
It's an old
expectancy
population.
lower
People, young people are stupid, and old people, are just weak.
up here?
Yeah. They're really good Christians because they're drunk on Friday and Saturday and sitting in the front row Sunday. So, they're very religious.
I know a lot of those Christians.
Yeah, they're very religious.
Uh-huh.
Anybody can be buried here, black, white, native, non-native, doesn't make any difference. You just got to be dead. If you're not dead, they won't put you in. The ones with the whale bones, you were asking about the whale bones, that just started about 20 years ago. They started putting the whale bones over the grave sites of people that were prominent in the whaling community. Maybe they were a captain, maybe they were the son of a captain, maybe they died during the whale hunt. And so they put those whale bones up there to honor them and let people know that those were Barrow whalers.
Is whaling considered
Honorable thing.
Honorable
Yeah.
in the village?
Yeah, that's what they do. I mean, they get 20.
Respected.
They get 25 whales a year. So there's a lot of whaling captains. Not all of them get whales. I mean, there's like 48 whaling crews, and not all of them get whales every year. But there's.
Is the life expectancy? I mean, diet.
When I first came up here, the life expectancy was about 50, and now it's considerably older. So they're 20 or 30 years past that because, I mean, they lived in little tiny houses. Everybody smoked, and they all had kerosene or some kind of fuel oil lamps So all that soot was in the air, and people died at 50. If you knew somebody that was 50 or years old, that was like an antique, an ancient guy in town. Yeah, like
And that was in what year?
72.
Back in that.
And now it's up to about, there's people. We've had a couple in the 90s.
What is rent? If I was going to rent an average house, like let's say this little brown deal, well, that's kind of
That's a huge place.
That's a huge place.
For $2,000 a month.
so about $2,000. So this little tan one, what would that rent for?
The yellow one?
Right here,
Yeah.
yellow, yeah.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, probably, I'd say between 15 and 2,000.
Okay, that's just about average with the U.S.
Then utilities.
And what do you think that house would cost?
Oh God, I don't know. My place, you've seen my place. I was offered $480 for it and turned it down because I make that much every 6 years in rent.
It's a little bit more expensive, but it's kind of on par with.
Hey, I got a place.
said the US?
I got a single family dwelling and 2 duplexes a duplex, and the duplex is the rooms. The places are 24 by 20, and it's on 2 different lots. And I sold the whole mess of them, and I'm getting $435,000.
Wow.
It's right across the street from Mr. and Mrs. Kim.
So all of the
See,
debris,
there's caribou up on top of the house.
So all the debris, the trucks, all the snow machines.
You don't throw anything away
You don't.
because you never know when you'll need a piece off of that truck to fix the blender you just got from Amazon.
Okay.
The dogs are gnawing on this bone right here.
Yeah, it's caribou ribs, I think.
Caribou ribs were. Oh God,
Right in
that's
front of the
caribou
doghouse.
ribs.
Yeah.
Good eyes, Kim.
He's had a nice.
Now they have reindeer and caribou. That's a caribou up on top of the roof there hanging. You can tell it's caribou because the hair is a little longer, a little bigger, and white. Reindeer is a little darker, shorter hair, and smaller. If you can't tell the difference, because they look almost identical, if you hook them to Santa's sleigh, the reindeer can fly, but the caribou can't.
So they do that to season it, or
No.
what? Just for decor?
No, they're just letting that hang out there. They'll use it for like cover their snow machine.
Yeah,
if they
drying
go
it out.
They're just drying it. If they go out
Sorry,
hunting,
Mike,
they'll
she's
throw it
not
on the
from
floor.
here.
They
She
can't.
I
doesn't
said
understand.
season it, or I meant drying it out. Season.
Sorry, Mike. Jeez.
You worry too much. And then actually, you ask somebody, what the hell are you going to do with that?
Yeah.
Well, I got an uncle that says he's going to. No, God, shut up. They're not going to do anything with that except, it'll just give some kid an infection when he cuts his finger on it.
We got some old Quonset huts out there.
What's that?
Some old Quonset hut looking.
Yeah, they kind of swiped that from the base when they were building Quonset huts out there, and somehow it ended up in town.
Yeah, we
This
saw
is the only paved road in Barrow.
I noticed. I actually.
There's a law somewhere that says you got to have a paved road in front of a airport.
Yeah.
Yeah, so here it is.
So crime-wise,
Mostly domestic violence and kid crimes. Stealing snow machines or four-wheelers or joyriding in cars. Domestic violence, the woman gets drunk and beats the husband gets drunk and beats the wife, and then the cop shows up and they try to beat him up. So it's usually alcohol fueled.
so thefts and booze-related fistfights.
And
type
like
stuff.
once a year we'll get a murder.
Once a year, huh?
Yeah.
In this
And
old village?
it's because people get drunk and they,
Yeah.
lose their mind kind of.
Right.
Do things they know they shouldn't do, but they do it because they're drunk.
So what does Barrow think of the lower 48? Do they even think about it at all?
No.
Do they feel like they're in the U.S. here?
Yeah,
or-
there's a sense of pride, the flags and all the holidays. 4th of July is real big and all that stuff. So they enjoy it, But I don't know if they're Eskimos first and U.S. citizens second, I believe.
Do they vote often
Yeah.
in presidential elections?
I don't know. I know that city elections, it's pretty marginal sometimes.
And what percent of Barrow is native? Half?
Yeah, about 2,400. There's the radio station right there.
Yeah. What was this thing here?
It was an information center for the borough. All the computers and information was stored in there, and it caught fire and burned down. So we didn't have any computers, information, telephones, nothing for 3 weeks until they got it relocated. traffic light's the only one in town.
Oh, the only
Oh,
traffic
my
light in Barrow.
It's been there 46 years. I've never seen it blink.
So it's a traffic light that does not light.
Right. Somewhere there's got to be a law that says you have to have a traffic light by a school crossing.
Oh.
They didn't say it had to work. You just got to have a traffic light up there. So by God, there it is.
So do most of the native folks live on the south end and then on the north end?
Everybody lives everywhere.
Okay, all right.
We have one little area out in Browerville. It's little Samoa, kind of.
Yeah.
A lot of Samoans have bought houses out there.
Yeah.
They have their own little community. But I mean, they interact with everybody. Nobody thinks any less of them.
The hospital has 3 doctors and
Yeah.
8 waiting, 8
Yeah, medical rooms. Like residents.
the hospital rooms. Yeah.
Yeah, and so there's no waiting.
Is it hard to convince doctors to come up here and
No.
fill an open
They
position?
pay them a lot of freaking money and give them housing.
Is that the same with teachers?
Yeah, the teachers get housing too, along with a great wage.
Yeah.
How many people move up here and do more people come up here, try it, take a job, and then go hell no and leave, or do
A lot of them do that.
more stick around than you would think?
Some of them stick around. It doesn't seem like, it seems like the Pacific Islanders and Filipinos and Asians, they come up and stay until they get their money, until they get moneyed up and then retire and then leave. But a lot of the other people, like
White people.
they just come in, they get their 2 years so they can put it on their resume and then leave town.
Gotcha. Like government type contracting, science stuff,
Teaching, anything.
college, anything. Yeah.
Yeah,
Come
just
up, pay
work
your
for a couple
dues.
years and say I did it, and then leave. Out of the box thinking.
Why do you think the Asian folks stay and the white folks leave?
Because they'll do anything for money, and they make a lot of money. I mean, if you're eating rice and living in a paper shack in the Philippines, or you can come here and after 1 year you can go back and buy a house in the Philippines. I mean, which would you rather do?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So there's no homeless people in Barrow.
Well, there are, but everybody takes them in. I mean, obviously
But
they
you
can't
can't live
stay outside.
outside, yeah.
I mean, they freeze up.
Oh,
And
what-
every winter, for people freeze up, they'll find a building to crawl into and think they got one more week until they find, they got to find someplace to live, and they
Yeah.
freeze up.
So look at the size of that stew.
That's the grocery store.
How do you say that?
Stwakpuk.
Stwakpuk. That's a giant. Is
Yeah.
that the biggest grocery store in town?
Yeah, it's the biggest anything in town.
It isn't. The cost of the groceries, I went inside the grocery store and it looked to be pretty expensive.
Very expensive.
There were some things that looked sort of normal. $100 for a box of diapers, I saw.
Yep.
What's the most outrageously priced grocery item that you...
Watermelon, a couple summers ago, watermelon was $10 a pound.
So how much does an
lot of
average
money.
watermelon weigh, I wonder?
10 or 12 pounds.
So $100 watermelon?
Yeah.
$100, and people buy it. I
And
guess.
diapers, I told my wife, if we were, we got 3 sons, I said, if we were raising kids up here now and bought a box of diapers, where it says 12 to 16 pounds on the diaper, there'd be 16 pounds in that diaper before I change them. The Spanish flu hit Barrow at 1916, killed a bunch of people, and this little cemetery is where they buried them, and they're shallow graves. They had to dig them by hand. So they're shallow graves. So now that the ground's thawing out, everybody's getting kind of concerned. As the ground thaws out, did that virus stay viable when it was frozen? And as the ground thaws out, is the virus going to become active again? And it's going to be, I'll be gone by then, so I'm not worried. But
So we might get the Spanish outbreak.
could have a
It's gonna
Spanish
start
flu
in Barrow.
outbreak.
It's
Yep.
going to be like in one of those crazy sci-fi movies when the scientist is walking around with his little spectrometer and goes,
Yeah.
Spanish flu located remote village, Alaska.
Yeah,
Call
probably.
the president.
when we had honey buckets only, this is where we dumped them. We just dumped 40 years of raw sewage in that
Oh.
lagoon. That building across the lagoon over there
Oh, polluted.
is
Yeah.
called that's the sewage treatment plant. That's where they process the sewage and they pump it down to another lagoon down here, put chemicals and bacteria in it to try and calm it down, purify it a little bit, and then
I can
after
kinda
a year,
smell it.
huh?
I can kind of smell it.
Yeah, well, when it in the spring, when it's ice on the top, and as soon as that ice gets soggy and heavy, and sinks down to the bottom and stirs that whole bottom up. You go by here at about 80 miles an hour.
Oh.
It's bad.
So they don't put the poop in there anymore.
No.
But it's still all.
It's still, they don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 40 years of raw sewage. I have tourists when I was doing tours all year round. They say, we're going to come up here in the week of Christmas, between Christmas and New Year's. I said, why? Well, we want to see the dark and the cold. I said, where do you live? And they said, Florida. I said, go in the kitchen, stick your head in the freezer, and turn the light off. And there you go. You know, that's, and they come up here, and I had one couple, young couple, nice folks, but they booked for 10 days here. And after the first day, I took them on a trip.
10 days in Barrow?
Yeah, and I said, what the hell are you going to do now? He goes, well, I don't know. We were hoping you'd tell us what to do. I said, yeah, go home. What's the matter with you? There's nothing to do.
What did they end up doing?
Sitting in the room, walking around. They have the Eskimo games from Christmas till New Year's, but then the few days before Christmas and the few days after New Year's, there's nothing going on. There's nothing to do. You just sit.
So the Eskimo games. What
That's knuckle hop and high kick and arm wrestling and thumb wrestling and finger wrestling. And this is the Naval Arctic Research Lab. It was a science lab from 1940 to 1980, and they were doing research on sea mammals, the whales, the walruses, the seals, that kind of stuff, out on the and the bears out on the ice. This is the college. They built the college out here. Anybody that lives in Barrow for 30 days, or on the North Slope, for 30 days becomes a resident. You can go to college for free.
This is the college.
Yeah. These light blue buildings,
Yeah.
that's carpentry and plumbing. The one back there is industrial. These Quonset huts are all teacher housing, and they use them for UIC shareholder housing and stuff like that. They rent them out.
How
Outside
many,
they look like crap. Inside they actually look pretty nice.
How many students go to this college?
A couple of hundred.
And do they come from out of state?
There's one here and there that does, but not very many. This is carpentry and plumbing. The second one is electrical. The third one's heavy equipment. The fourth and fifth one are classrooms, 2 up, 2 down, and some teacher offices. For those 5 buildings and the one you saw in town and the one behind here, this is the administration. And we got plenty of administration.
always.
I can't believe this is a college campus.
It is. They got dorms on this wing over here. Kids come in.
What is it called?
Illisavic.
Illisavic College.
Yeah.
So if you graduate from here, you are hardcore.
Yeah.
I mean, God.
Not many people use it. Natives especially don't use it, because if you get out of high school and you want a job, you want to go to work, you call your uncle who works for the Barrow and say, hey, I'm an Eskimo, uncle, I need a job. Okay, you're a supervisor.
This is just a trip. And college is currently in session, I guess.
Just started.
It's just, yeah. First day of college. Look, this guy's like, my first class at Illisavic College. Oh, yeah.
And this is the whale skull. It's been here 26 years. It's the head of the bowhead whale. That's the one they hunt.
So I have a question about weather. So when is it sunny and 65? July?
Last year it came on a Tuesday and we barbecued that day.
I mean, how many days of sun do you get up here?
Oh, we get sun from March until now.
So
but it just happens to be cloudy now.
Okay, so it's just bright and sunny.
Yeah,
and cold
all night long. Yeah.
Okay.
Now the sun went down the first time on August 3rd. Went down for about 2 minutes. It was like on the horizon, went bloop, bloop. That was it. Now it's dark for 4 or 5 hours at night.
It's it's speeding up.
Yeah, it goes about 20 minutes a day.
Yeah, we've been here so long, I feel like I've noticed a change.
It's a $1 million field. They play 4 games a year.
Yep.
It's like playing on fuzzy concrete. When I stop here, if you want to get out and see how hard that is,
I'm gonna get out and see that.
and you get a picture of the scoreboard and all that, but it's as hard as a rock. It's like on permafrost, and it's carpet. So it hurts. I mean, if you had a 300-pound Samoan land on you, it'd be bad.
This is the high school, and I don't know who flies into. the kids come.
4 games.
The kids come from. Yeah, how do the kids get here? We got to ask him.
Yeah, I have to fly.
Look at this turf. We're on the famous high school football field.
Just a little brisk out there.
It is.
So, 4 games. The other team clearly has to fly in, right?
Yep, and we have to pay for it. It's $50,000 a game to have the other team come up.
Oh my gosh.
Because they got to pay plane tickets and then, get them up here. Usually there's like 30 or 40 kids on the team at $1,000 a ticket, and the coaches, so it's expensive. And then they sleep in the gym, and then there's only 20 or 22 on the team, but the parents don't want their little darlings sleeping on the gym floor, so they got to put them in a hotel. So we have to fly our kids out, and then the school pays for them to stay in a hotel. Yep.
50 grand to get the other team here.
Yeah.
Right. It costs the school 50,000 to come play here.
Yeah.
But
not
it's
their school, our school.
Yeah.
We pay for everybody's everything.
Oh, you pay for them to come play you?
Yeah.
Oh.
4 games a year.
Because other school districts don't have $50,000 to send a football team
so
to
in
Barrow.
order to do it, you got to pay them to come.
We keep paying. Yep.
Well, good for this. Is this really neat? This was on this. Yeah, their first game was on ESPN. It was a big deal.
Yep. So you can see the power poles. There's no more electricity after those poles.
So after that, it's just pretty much wasteland.
Yep.
All the way up
Polar bear
to.
land.
So yeah, where are we now? It's called the North. What did you call it?
Getting towards the point of Barrow.
The Point of Barrow. Okay,
This is North Salt Lagoon is what's up here. I mean,
Right.
that's what they call it.
But like we're almost at the tip of.
Right. We're going to get about 1.5 miles
Okay.
away. It's native land, and it's a $1,500 permit for me to go out there.
Oh.
And you got to have a specialized vehicle. You have to have something with like 6-foot high tires and 3 feet wide that goes on the sand because there's no road. It's just beach. And so you got to have a specialized vehicle. But in the spring, the ice is up against the shore, and here's the open lead where the ice ends, and the ice ends and the open water starts. So they put camps along the ice, and when a whale swims by, they push the skin boat in the water, paddle out to the whale, and they get within like 15 or 20 feet of the whale. There's 6 guys in the boat paddling, 1 in the front with a harpoon and 1 behind him with a shoulder gun and a bomb in it to kill the whale. So they get out to the whale, they get about 20 feet away. The guy in front throws the harpoon and sticks it in the whale. It's got 100 feet of rope and a great big orange float so they can follow the whale. Then the guy behind him with the shoulder gun has a bomb in it about this big. This is all hollow, brass tip, a 5, 7, or 9 second delayed detonator on the end of it. This is full of gunpowder. The bomb goes in, they set the detonator. 7 seconds later, the bomb blows up, and this shrapnel from the pipe bomb hits the heart, the lung, or the spine and kills the whale. Excuse me, they usually start last week of September or first week of October. And when they get a whale, they pull it up on the beach, and then they take a bulldozer and pull it up on the road, and then they get a front end loader with pickle forks and pick it up and set it up here. Then they cut it all
right
up.
here.
Yeah, right here.
This is where
the butcher site.
Oh, I did not know that's what we were parked on. This is where they butcher all the whales. So is it possible that today they'll bring one in?
No, not until they start coming by. And the water's too bad now.
So we will not see a...
No, they wouldn't. It wouldn't be till the end of September or October.
So this is where they will cut up all the whale, and then everybody comes and takes whatever they want?
Takes whatever they need, yeah. Whatever their share is.
Right.
You know, the crew gets X amount, the captain gets the bigger share, and...
This is a very large area for that.
Well, they do 3 whales at a time. They're only allowed to... They've set a limit. They only get 3 at a time because that's all they can process without having the meat spoiled because it's warm-blooded.
Let me get a shot of the ocean in this. I didn't realize that's what this was. Yeah, I can see there's little whale bits in here. Kim, we're gonna get in the Arctic.
I know. My goal was to do the polar plunge, but unfortunately I have a cold.
Oh.
So that's not happening. Or it would be happening.
Well, let's feel it so we can say we did it.
Oh, it's cool. I don't know how they did that. They must not have had feeling.
Yeah, I mean, that's really cool. That's
Yeah.
like, well, of course it's cold, damn it. It's the Arctic
I
Ocean.
know, but still. Whew.
I felt colder.
No, you have not. Where would you have felt colder?
Here, let's do a picture really quick.
Okay, by the Arctic.
Yes.
Now these little camps, they're owned by the Eskimos. The native corporation, UIC, owns the land, but the natives own the shack. I can't build a shack out here. I can come out here and park my truck and shoot ducks all day long, but I can't have a little shack to do it in. That's all right. I wouldn't, I don't know what I'd do with one anyway.
Right.
And is that the northernmost
That's it.
point in Alaska?
Yep,
Right out there.
yep,
Have you ever gone out there?
yep.
It's really nothing different than where
Nope,
we are
it's a
right now.
sandbar.
It's just sand. Yeah. Okay.
There's nothing out there but that little shack.
So where we are right now is pretty much as far as
you can legally
anybody
go.
can go.
And right now, because there's nobody went by us, you two are the farthest north in North America at
I am, because I'm on this side of the truck.
3:51.
At 3:50, that's not the correct time. At 3:51 p.m. on August 20. Oh, wait, no, there's a truck coming, Mike.
Yeah, dang it.
Oh, and then when they get here, then you'll
All
be the
right,
farthest.
this is the last truck to come
Yeah,
through,
truck.
and then we're going to be the furthermost northernmost
people in North America.
people in North America. As soon as this truck passes right here, I'm the most northernest person in North America right here, right now.
And it's cold.
And it's cold up here. So what's the future of Barrow?
Well, as soon as we get a different president and they start drilling again, the price of oil will go up, and Shell Oil and probably 2 or 3 others will come out. You're familiar with Prudhoe Bay, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Prudhoe Bay pumped 1 million barrels of oil a day for 30 years, 35 years actually. 80 miles out, there's enough oil underneath the ocean floor, 80 miles out in 120 feet of water, to pump 1 million barrels a day for 300 years. So there's just a huge expanse of oil down there, and they'll have to run a pipeline from 80 miles out along the ocean floor to here, to where they'll connect it with the pipeline, Trans-Alaska Pipeline, and get it out of here. But in the meantime, as soon as it opens up and they get the permits and all that, so it'll be not in my lifetime, but the land I own now, I'm going to give to my sons, and they will reap the benefits of that. But they'll be millionaires. I mean, because it's going to be so much money in the oil, and everything will go up. And
So are people going to flock here and build homes?
Oh, yeah.
You think?
Yeah,
Barrow's going to
for the last 300 years, the people would pull up and make a stand.
So should I buy Barrow real estate right now?
If you could, I mean, it's expensive as hell.
Like for an acre, what would it cost out there in no man's land? We just drove through.
You can't buy out there.
Oh, okay.
You can only buy what's in town.
So this is the only gas station in town, and gas is, what is it a gallon?
$6.95,
$6.95 a gallon in Barrow.
and that's subsidized because it should be around $10. But the native corporation that buys the gas felt bad about everybody with COVID and all that. The economy's kind of turning to crap up here, so they've given everybody a break.
So what do you think these houses are up here?
How much?
Yeah. 500?
Well, I would say minimum 350 or 400, and probably up to 600. I know that I can't think of the guy's name right now. What the hell was it? He had a place on the corner up here, and he sold that for $550.
Why is it so expensive for like a little teeny tiny?
Because the labor cost, and the plywood's $100 a sheet.
Oh.
Sheetrock's $100 a sheet.
Oh.
I mean, stuff is just so expensive to get up here because you got to fly it all in.
But like that stuff's old and not new, so you're not building. Yes, the cost to build would be $500 for
Right.
anyway, but all this is.
But they still got to. They know they can get it because nobody wants to spend the $500,000 to build one.
Yeah.
And you got to have land, and most of them can't get the land.
Well, and like you said, they're probably making some money, so do they know that?
The checkers at the grocery store, the young girls that are 16, 17, 18 years old at the grocery store, they're making 18, 20 bucks an hour, 22 an hour.
Look at all this. So what happened here? Like, stuff just...
They just don't care. That's nomadic
But
tribe
that was
mentality.
like destroyed to the ground. Was that a storm?
No, it probably burned and they just plowed it down.
Okay. So the native mentality, they just don't care about anything.
No, because they buy another one. That's why all the cars, they get a flat tire and they go buy a new one.
Buy a new car?
Yeah, I've seen them. You know, they don't change the oil. They run them out of oil, and the next thing you know, the engine pops and they go buy another one.
Just buy another car and leave the other one junked in the
Yep.
front yard.
Yep.
What else are they gonna do with their money?
Like, boat stops working, just ditch it and go buy another boat. Talk to the natives and counsel them on how to use their money more effectively? No, they don't even, nobody even.
How are you going to tell them anything? They got the money.
Right, yeah. Well, it's like,
And this,
hey,
they're not planning on running out.
No. Here we are at the Barrow Airport, ready to fly back to Anchorage. It had been a wild and wonderful trip. I mean, we saw a lot. A whole month in Alaska was just about up. I was tired, but full of stories to share. Now, Barrow is what it is. They don't care what you think. They live the way they want, on their terms. Nobody here is trying to impress anybody. They're not trying to fit in. I actually don't think anybody here gives a crap about the rest of the country or the rest of the world. You have to admire that. It's about a 2-hour flight back to Anchorage. I wasn't looking forward to going back there. Back to the reality of poverty and drug abuse and desperation. I think I like Barrow way more than I like Anchorage, and I did not think I would say that. And then look, on the way back, I put my shade up, and what do you know? I finally got a good look at Mount McKinley. We had tried to see her a few times during the trip, but the weather was bad. Look at that. We flew right overhead. From up here, you can really see how much larger that mountain is than everything else around it. The tallest mountain in North America. I felt bad for the people on the other side of the plane that didn't get to see this. Now, in some native cultures, it's rude to say goodbye. That's because the natives, goodbye means a final farewell. Like, I'll never see you again. Well, this wasn't goodbye to Alaska. More like a see you later. I've been to all 50 states now. It's time for another adventure. Well, hey, Nick Johnson fans. So YouTube's pushing this whole membership thing now, and I think it's great. So I set one up for this channel. If you want to be a member on this channel, you can only do it on your computer right now. They make it hard for some reason. So go and hit join right there, and you can support the channel and join various membership tiers. I'm excited about it because I'm going to post all sort of behind the scenes content, extra interviews, fun mappy stuff, bonus songs, and more. Just some extra stuff that doesn't make it onto the main channel. So think about becoming a member. Huh, everyone?
You should join. I did.
Are you looking to move and need advice? I do consulting. That's right. I'll sit down and talk about where the next perfect place for you and your family should be. I do it all the time. Together, let's find you a new home that's safe and checks all your boxes. And I can also help you find your new house, too. Email me and I'll work with you. I'm not just helping you figure out where to move, but I can help you find your perfect home, too. That's right. I know awesome, reliable agents all over the country, and I'd love to connect you to somebody who can help you search for that perfect home. And if you want to buy some Mappy gear, click the store link on my homepage. From there, you can check out the latest merch. There's hoodies, coffee cups, stickers, and shirts. Show off how much you love Mappy and support the channel. And I'm on Cameo too. If you want me to send you or somebody you know a personalized video message, go to Cameo and search Nick Johnson YouTube. It's fun.
Hey YouTube world, I'm Sage, Nick's manager. You've enjoyed a Corner House Entertainment production, so watch another one.
Hey guys, if you learned something new about America or what it's like to live in America, great. You should think about subscribing and turning on your notifications. You can also click one of these videos or playlists for more.